Blue Machine at Estacado keeps on going as the rest of LISD schools are still looking for their first wins. Hello everyone and welcome back to Football Fever here on LISD TV, your source for high school football here on the South Plains. I'm Travis Cran, and joining me as always is the football philosopher, a Socrates of the gridiron if you will. He's George Watson of the Lubbock Avalanche-Journal.
Socrates? What are we, Bill and Ted looking for Socrates out there?
Only if you're going to pull out the toga,
well,
dude.
I
That's
passed, therefore I am. Something like that.
Well, you okay with that one?
You're stretching a little bit, but we'll let it slide for this week.
All right, well, I think a team that's okay with everything that's going on right now is definitely the Estacado Matadors. They win their second game in a row after their best start since 1990. 55-13 over Pampa. What do you make of this one, George?
Yeah, when you say the Blue Machine keeps rolling, that's exactly what they're doing right now. 55-13 over Pampa, a week after 48-13 over Plainview. I was interested to see, because I thought Pampa would be a step up in competition, but man, the Matadors just keep going. Offensively, defensively, they're just getting it done. They've got such great balance offensively and such, and they're just swarming to the ball and tackling everything in sight defensively. So I am really excited. They've been on the road the last 2 weeks. They finally get a home game this week. I'm excited to see them because, they were a good team last year, and it looks like they've really taken a couple of steps up this year.
Raynald taking on Lubbock High in our next game, and the Westerners, they seem to be getting on good starts during games. Close, 2 possessions up until that fourth quarter, and then Raynald just kind of pulled away.
Yeah, it's interesting. You can tell that some of the pieces are there for Lubbock High. They've got some good pieces in place. They've got some good players. I thought they ran the ball particularly well at times. They still need to do some good things throwing the ball, but you look at they were able to grab momentum right before halftime, even though they didn't score. But then they come out at halftime in the third quarter. They go down, get a field goal to make it a 1-possession game, get the defensive stop they need, but then they turn around and go 3 and out, and Randall scores on that drive, and it's really kind of over from there. Lubbock High really struggled to get anything going, after that 3 and out. So just needing some consistency to match their effort, and I think Lubbock High will be okay, but they've still got some work to do to get to that point.
Yeah, Randall quarterback Hunter Alford with the big game now, and 210 yards of total offense and 3 touchdowns. A team looking to get some production out of their quarterback, of course, Coronado, taking on El Paso El Dorado. We know the questions are there on the offense. Butch Henderson, and I'm sure Texas Tech can tell anyone just as well as them. It's hard to break in a quarterback into a system like this, but they struggle again against an El Paso team.
It is. I was very surprised by this score. I thought Coronado would go up there. I said they might win. But losing 54-7 was a real shock to me. But then when I look at the box score and you see a couple of fumbles and you see 4 interceptions by Brennan Johnson, he's still kind of fitting into that spot, at quarterback, like you said. And obviously the 4 interceptions don't help, and that'll lead to a big score like this. So Coronado's got some work to do. They've got some work to do offensively, but they've got some work to do defensively. They're giving up almost 375 yards a game, so they've really got to kind of tighten the hatches there, tighten the screws, and really kind of get things corrected this week. But it's going to be tough, here down the stretch in their non-district schedule. They've got some tough opponents coming up, but they've really got to find a way to get things done and get some guys in right positions to make some plays out there.
Monterey taking on Odessa in our next game, and we had found out about Bradley Marquez early in the year and the type of runner that he is. He seems to have his best games against the Plainsmen each year. He missed last year's game with his injury. Comes out big in this one. Do you question Monterey's rushing defense now after these first 2 games?
I don't know if I question Monterey's rushing defense after this game. Obviously, they've got some work to do, and obviously they've faced a couple of good backs. Bobby Huey at Friendship is a good back, and Bradley Marquez, we all know what he can do, and he's going to be doing it in a Texas Tech uniform here after this year. So, they faced 2 really good rushers off the bat. This was a game I think Odessa was really kind of looking to break out because they'd had a bad scrimmage or a rough scrimmage against Lubbock High, and then a very rough game in their season opener against a good Arlington Bowie team. So being at home, I think they were looking to kind of put the hammer down. Monterey, I think, is showing offensively they're going to be all right, but like you said, they've got some things to work out defensively. I don't think they're in trouble. I just think it's kind of like Coronado. They've got a few things they need to correct and get right before they can really be the team they want to be.
And you mentioned it, Monterey giving up 361 rushing yards in that one. And you mentioned Bobby Huey. Funny you said that because obviously he had a great game for Friendship in our next one. Rushing game combined with their passing game, they get some turnovers on defense to force Big Spring into some trouble spots and kind of have to hold on there in the end.
Yeah, they do. This was kind of a revenge game a little bit for Friendship after last year. Big Spring was one of those teams that kind of knocked them off their district championship run, and so I know they were looking forward to this. And this was really, I thought a pretty good dominant game for Friendship. Statistic-wise, it didn't show that, but late in the game, they're sitting there leading 21-7, and it's an interception return for a touchdown by Big Spring about midway through the fourth quarter that really kind of tightened this game up a little bit. So you take that away, and this is kind of a little bit of a cruise win for Friendship. However, they're rushing the ball very well, but they haven't gotten the passing game going this so far this season, which I know Brad Davis was real high on. He thought his receivers were good, and and had an experienced quarterback. So it'll be interesting to talk to him this week. I want to find out if he's concerned at all about his passing game. But like you said, running wise, they have everything clicking right now.
Snyder taking on Cooper, and I questioned you, of course, last week whether or not you were going to take the Pirates in this one. But apparently there's a really good team over there in Snyder.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Snyder play, they are an outstanding football team, especially offensively, between quarterback Keenan Ward, receivers Anthony Taylor. They've got running backs, galore. They're very deep at running back, and they've got a sound defense anchored by a two-time All-Stater and Shady Romish. So, they went into Cooper and really, they were coming off a bad loss that they really could have won, and I think they wanted to prove something. They really went out there and took Cooper, from the opening kickoff and really kind of dominated that game. So yeah, I was not surprised at all by what Snyder did on Friday night.
Two other scores from around the area. Roosevelt beats Brownfield 52-24. We'll find out more about Caden Whitley later in the show. And then Littlefield going against Idalou 28-21 in overtime in that one. Another overtime loss for Idalou right off the bat in these first two games. They end up having to go to their third quarterback in this one.
Yeah, they did. Bryce Schilling, the third quarterback. Their other two were out with injuries. But Bryce, commend him. He did a fabulous job against the number 4 team in the state, which is likely going to move up with some losses by some teams above them this week. So, a good job, I thought, by Idalou. Very surprising. A lot of people thought they might get blown out by a Littlefield team, but this is always a tussle for those guys. So, yeah, good job by Idalou. I know, some fans may think the sky is falling a little bit with Idalou being 0-2, but, relax, Wildcat fans. You guys are going to be all right. Littlefield's a tough team. No shame losing to those guys in overtime, especially.
All right, well, up next, George will show you one player that helped the Eagles lock up their first win of the 2010 season. Back on the Fever after this.